Hi Aquarius, what's going on? We are here with a timeless reading. The first card that we have out is the Devil. The second card that we have out is Five of Wands. Okay. The Devil card in this deck always makes me laugh. There's just something about it where I feel like it looks very mischievous to me, I guess. And so I see it as being representative of the things that potentially we can get caught up in, and at the same time it can be something that is perpetuating the demise of something else. So seeing the Devil and seeing the Five of Wands can be like an unnecessary conflict that you're getting into. It can be like something that you're even considering that maybe doesn't really need to be considered. And it can be different things, but it can be something when we have the Devil involved that it can be something where if we're not thinking about it, we can be giving it importance, or we can be considering that. And I think if we sort of reflect more deeply on it, there can be something behind it that can be maybe the real essence and give us a sense of understanding that maybe we don't have initially. But I think it just takes taking a closer look at things. So the Devil, if we see this as sort of a mischievous energy that's surfacing, all right, when we have the Five of Wands, it can be that this is bringing up some type of conflict. Again, it can be maybe an unnecessary conflict to even be having in the first place. Like something may not even be much of a problem, but because of the Devil there, it's creating some type of issue. So I think breaking this down and seeing what that is. Devil can also be concerning yourself about something that's not a concern now too. Like it can be like worrying about this, worrying about that, when that's not happening presently. So there's an illusion that's connected with that of like, what if you don't even exist in that reality that you're thinking about? So that's also another way too that it can be popping up. It just feels like it has you working with stuff that may not be the real stuff that you want to be working with right now. And it can sort of take you on an unnecessary side quest. Actually, let's clarify if we can with this deck. The Devil is kind of giving me this feeling of a want to like maybe even control something here. And if you take a deeper look at it, it may be something where you're like, why am I actually doing this though? And it can come from a place of fear. It can come from a place of anxiety. I'm seeing the Death card clarifying the Devil. This is something that maybe you're going to put an end to. Just something about the Devil in this deck like feels funny to me. Like it doesn't feel really heavy. It doesn't feel very serious. It feels like there's like something almost silly to it to me. But it may be something that kind of feels intense until you look at it and you're like, wow, I felt sort of tricked by my initial perception of that energy. Okay, so it's bringing up some type of conflict. It's bringing up some type of confusion as well. So when we have Five of Wands, this is like, do I do this? Do I do that? What do I do here? Wands are going to be about that taking action. So when you have Five of Wands, it's kind of figuring out how to take action, but you can feel like, well, I could do this, I could do that. You can kind of feel like it's sort of all over the place and you don't really know what to do because you have to sort of come to a consensus here about how you're going to be moving forward. And then on top of it, we have the Seven of Cups, which can be like, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, then I'm feeling this thing over here, then like that doesn't make sense for that, or then like how do I really feel about it? So it's gonna be that emotional side to things too. So not only does it not feel straightforward, but then kicking things up emotionally and there being a lack of clarity, that's also something that comes up within this as well. I'm seeing 6 of Pentacles. I'm seeing 10 of Pentacles. I am seeing 3 of Swords. Six of Pentacles is when we get the balance right. 10 of Pentacles is when we feel like that has stabilized. And so there's that, I think, stability in that relationship of, I do this, I get what I need from it, or like I do that and they do that, and it just feels like everything is sort of level and everything is steady and everything is what we need it to be. Having 3 of Swords can be something that needs to be, I think, like worked through and understood based off of this. And it can even be something that may be getting in the way of this actually happening, that it needs to be addressed. Let's clarify this too. What is this 3 of Swords? Maybe it's some type of issue with this. I was seeing 8 of Cups wanting to come out. For everything that you know, and you can feel like you know a lot and know well what you're doing here, this just feels challenging nonetheless. I almost feel like you being in a position where you can feel experienced, and at the same time this can feel like a high level difficulty here that's presenting itself to you. Ultimately, this is going to lead to what you're doing and what you are creating, but there can be something going on that has to do with you initiating action, maybe for the right reasons. So 6 of Pentacles is about getting the balance right. And what comes when we get the balance right is the 10 of Pentacles, is that thing sort of being locked in, and then it's what we need. It's kind of like, an example of this can be you looking for different jobs where it's like the right amount of work, the right type of work for the right type of pay. And so when you find that, where you're like, okay, I put in this work for this many hours and it's this type of work, and then I'm getting paid what I need to get paid, that then equals the 10 of Pentacles, where you feel like everything is sustained and like working well, and that's good. Having 3 of Swords feels like something that needs to be addressed, having to do this, and this can be wounding that has to be addressed that's associated with this too. And it can be something that needs to be unpacked even that's associated with this. Maybe too about what that is for you and what that's not for you. Seeing that 8 of Cups wanting to come out when we saw the 3 of Swords, this can be about what really fits that for you. And maybe also what doesn't fit that for you. What really is representative of that for you versus what's not. Where are you trying to like bargain here, and it's the wrong type of scenario that you're trying to bargain with? Because seeing that Devil and the 6 of Pentacles, it feels like this way of trying to manipulate things so that it like works to find that balance, but that it's some way where you're not really going to find that. So there can be something wrong with the 6 of Pentacles. When we have the Devil there too, it can be a sort of signing a deal, but it's not really what we need it to be, but we can still be telling ourselves that story. Like with the Devil, it can say like, I think that I'm getting what I need from this, And then like the cost is actually much higher, I think, than we allow ourselves to believe at times, but we can be telling ourselves this story that like this is just how it is, or this is the only way to get that. Like when I see the devil being involved in a process, it always feels to me like there's the legitimate, functional, actually achieving that process versus this sort of like fake way of trying to achieve the process, and you can feel like something's wrong with it, and that's why it doesn't feel right, because there's something going on. And it can be something that's not fully seen yet, or maybe something that doesn't want to fully be addressed yet, because I'm seeing the Two of Swords here. So this can mean like maybe not fully seeing, maybe not like wanting to totally address this yet. With the devil, you can feel like the price is too high. At the same time, it can be something that we tell ourselves like this is the only way to accomplish it, when that's not really the truth. But that's also how the devil works too, is that it convinces you like this is the only way you're going to get what you want here. This is the only way that this is going to work here. This is the only way you can accomplish this or maintain this within your life, when that's not actually the truth. And it will have you, I think, paying a price that you don't necessarily want to be paying, but then the devil is like, well, this is the only way that this can be possible for you. And then it can really, I think, mess with things. Really adds a confusing element into things. Before action is taken, thinking needs to be happening. Two of Swords and Knight of Wands is waiting before doing something, because Knight of Wands is the part of us that like we don't even necessarily all the time want to wait around for something to make sense. We just want to take action now because we're ready to take action now, except on a mental level you may not actually be yet. So there can be this part of you that from a more fiery, impulsive place within you, you're like, well, I want to do something, but there also needs to be, I think, like logic and thinking behind what's being done as well. So that Two of Swords is going to be a deciding factor, but it can be kind of blurred by the energy that the devil is bringing with it. I think too, taking a closer look at this is something that can give insight. I think bringing light to this. It feels like to purify what this is that the devil is. What I'm seeing is the archetype of Hermit, which is the last card that we have here. Hermit is about going into a place where there's reflecting that's happening, where there's pondering that's happening, where there's driven by the truth. I want to find answers and I want to find clarity. And so that purifies your perspective. So you're only working with the truth. The devil is going to be something that's not the truth, but it poses itself as that. And so devil is first card, hermit is last card. I feel like going into hermit mode here and thinking about things, it feels like the light of the hermit, which is the truth, which is the clarity, it feels like it's going to burn up the devil. It feels like it's going to purify this energy. So rather than the tricky way that it presents itself, you're able to see what's really behind there. And that's what this is going to help you do. So it's going to burn that up. So instead of it presenting as something tricky, which the devil does, this is going to help you see through that, and it's going to help you discern it. And see that it's actually getting in the way of what you really want. While it can be telling you the whole time that that's what the devil will be telling you the whole time, this is what you want, this is what you want, this is how you get it. Meanwhile, it's actually keeping you from exactly that. It's kind of like like if you want to be like eating an apple, okay, that the devil is coming through and is giving you like some synthetic like apple kind of tasting thing, and it's like, this is what you want, this is what you want, this is as close as you're gonna get to it, and it's like it doesn't really satisfy that substance that you're looking for, but it kind of presents like it, and it's like pretty close to it. It can be sometimes. And you can feel though that you're still not reaching what you're really looking to reach here. Meanwhile, the devil is like, you're not going to find a real apple. Like, this is as close as you're going to get to it. Like, I'm giving you what you want. And it feels like if we stay within that cycle, it keeps us from finding the actual apple that we're looking for, that we really can find, that it's possible for us to be doing that. And this can be things that we have going on that feel like I feel kind of like this is about the stuff that we maintain and the things that we're attributing value to as if it's like something important to us, which may not always be the case. Because having 10 of Pentacles is about... 10 of Pentacles is a card of abundance, I think, in the way of feeling like you have what you need within your life, and you're not, just that you feel like you have what you need and things are the way that they're supposed to be, and that things feel settled. Having the devil there can be saying, like, this is what 10 of Pentacles looks like to me, and then it still doesn't feel right. Like telling yourself, like, I need this, this, and that, and then when you have it, it's like it still doesn't feel right. So I think like a correction here is needed. So for example, this can be telling yourself that that like you'll be happy when you get a mansion, and then you get the mansion and you're looking around and you're like, why don't I feel happy with this? Why doesn't this feel like it has the value that I was telling myself it had all along, but now I get here and I feel like something's missing? Like, I don't even know if this is even what I need, but we kind of, without checking in, we've been like securing these things. And then it feels like, does that hold personal value to you though? Is that your dream? Is that what you want? And I think the devil is anything that we can be telling ourselves, or anything that we've internalized, that we've been told, like, this is what you want, this is what you need, you have this in your life and you'll be set. And then you find yourself having those things or connecting with those things, and you look around and you're like, why doesn't it feel right then? Why do I still feel like something's missing? Because it lacks the substance that you're looking for. And so this is about finding ways that you may be doing this, like telling yourself, I think selling yourself on a dream that may not really be yours. And then no wonder why you feel the way that you feel. Like, why doesn't it feel totally right? And I think that this comes down to your values and what you're really assigning value to, and what actually is for you, what resonates with you versus what doesn't. Because you can be saying it's fine, like somebody tells you like, you'll be so happy if you get paid in apples, and then you're getting paid in apples and you're like, yeah, I'm getting paid in apples, and then it's like, you don't even really like apples. So sure, you've accomplished that, but what does that mean to you if that's not something that you care about? And I think it's about seeing that the difference between the devil being like, isn't that apple so great? You're finally getting paid in these apples. And then you have a whole bunch of apples and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, you have the apples there, but what does that mean to you? And I think in that moment, there can be a lot of mixed feelings. I thought this whole time that this was what I wanted, that this was what I needed. It was the apples. Like, this is what, like, that person told me, and this other person was like, I regretted never getting apples in my life. And like, now I have it in front of me, and it feels like that that moment where you can be seeing this and you're like, but why doesn't it feel right? Why doesn't it feel right? And I think that this has to do with wounding that's associated with that. So in this moment, there can be that feeling confused because you have the apples, you've accomplished something, so why isn't it feeling right? And then I think the pain of feeling that sense of separation with self of like, I believe this person and I believe that person, or I believe what I saw on TV or like read in the magazine that this was the thing that I wanted. This was what I should be investing in within my life. I did that and now I'm feeling like this, so something's wrong with the equation. And that's where the devil's mask sort of falls off and you see that it hasn't been the truth that this was based off of, not for you. And so it feels like being in that space of like, you're on the fence here. Are you still going to feed into the stories that the devil is telling you about these apples, where it's like you're trying to even like convince yourself that that's what you want, that that's right for you, versus the Hermit, which is going to tell you the truth, but we have to look into it in order to do that. But there can be something really painful about that because you invested and now you have the apples. And so having that happen, there can be the like, was I tricked? Like, how did I not know? I think it's that space of feeling like where you had been disconnected from self and I think following something that wasn't truly connected. And in that moment of realizing, that can feel very painful. Like, I did all of this for that and then it didn't add up to like what I was being told it would add up to. And so in that moment, you're like, wow, I've been disconnected from myself. I've been doing this. This feels really painful to me. I think the truth of looking at all of these apples, and I think the realization of that, and that can be really difficult in that moment because the truth is just there now. And that's what I'm seeing be connected with the Three of Swords. This is like all of those feelings that are associated with this realization that's happening, and saying like, you know, whenever we have investments, I spent my time doing this. I put my energy into this. I could have been doing that instead of this. Like, why did I do this? Did I waste my time? Now I'm going to have to, like, you know, all of those things that come with it. This feels like the processing that's happening that may keep you from taking action towards what you do want, what you do feel passion towards, what you do feel draw towards, what you do want to actually do here. So that's where the conflict can come of, well, since I've been collecting these apples, do I just keep doing that even though I kind of know the truth now? Should I just stick with this? Which is going to be the devil telling you to keep doing that, even though you already know what the conclusion is. You already know the feeling. Or do you say, as difficult as it can be, I have the truth now and I need to change course. Will I let myself do that? And that's what this is. Will I let myself do that? So rather than just this automatic, well, I've been collecting apples, so I'm going to keep doing that. This feels like needing to reflect because you may actually want to change direction now. But I think that the like pentacle part of all of this, which is like, but I only know about collecting apples and that's what I've been spending all my time doing, and that's what I invested in, and I have stocks in apples and this and that, you know, the whole thing. I think like in this moment it can be kind of like, what does it all mean? And now feeling like the pain, I think, of realization more than anything, and like, how could this have happened, and why didn't I know, and why is this what I chose? It's this whole thing that's happening. And what I'm seeing is that before you get to a conclusion, don't be just making a choice to continue with the apples. This can be a time where you really reflect and figure out what you want to do, because recognizing that regardless of what it is that you've done already, in this moment, you have the rest of your life. And so do you want to choose in this moment, if you could wipe the slate clean, which I think for energetic purposes, it can help you sort of organize. If you would choose apples or something else right from this moment, like, what do you want to choose? You've already taken the apple root and you know where that leads you, and it's always going to be like that. Do you want to maybe try something else now? Where even maybe you're seeing this as being like late in the game at this point, because I'm seeing 10 of Pentacles, so something has been achieved here. Like you've invested, you worked, something has been achieved. You have the whole basket of apples, like it really did happen. Are you going to choose from this point onward to like keep going down that path? And I think also recognizing that this is a choice. If you keep doing that, this is an active choice that's being made because you're having the realization now. Are you going to keep doing that? Or are you going to say, I'm going to go a different way? And when you go that different way, it gives you that opportunity to find your real 10 of Pentacles. To find that thing where when you do achieve that, it's really going to hold that meaning for you. It's going to mean something to you because it's aligned with your values. It's not that the apples aren't something, they are, just not to you necessarily. And I think the devil can come in and be like, that's where that attachment comes through to the material stuff of, well, you have all of these apples and you have the investments and all of this, so aren't you just going to keep doing it? And like you already spent all of this time, so you might as well keep doing it. Anything that's going to have you like not follow your heart here. All of the fear, all of the manipulation, all of the, you've already spent all your time doing this, you know. And that's what can still keep you, I think, from seeing. All of the ways that we can talk ourselves out of doing what we really want to be doing here. If this is avoided, it feels like it will be avoided because this can be, I think, something painful to come to terms with. However, if that is something that you're willing to address, then you process through it and then it's not a thing anymore because the trajectory shifts at that point. I think it'll be more painful than anything to be realizing this now and to continue. Because you always know that it's going to be the same story. When right now, it can change. And that is something that you can do. And it makes sense to me now, seeing the devil be clarified as the death card. Are you ready to make that change? Are you ready to put an end to this because you've now realized? Or is this something that you're going to choose to continue doing, even though you already, you know? There's nothing that's going to pop up and feel surprising. You're not just all of a sudden going to turn around and think apples are valuable to you. It's going to be the same story. You can live with it for sure. Is that something that you want to do? Do you want to make yourself live with it? Do you want to say, oh, this is all right? Or like, I can live with this. Like, is that what you choose? Or do you want something that's going to have a little more substance to it? And nobody can answer that question for yourself except for you. And I think going into this, knowing that whatever it is that you choose, you're choosing. It's a choice. Especially at this point when you know. And you may spend some time to yourself. I think like burning up anything that's not the truth for you and anything that you don't really want to be basing your logic off of. Coming back to this idea of the devil and the hermit, and the hermit's going to be the thing that purifies the devil. So you just get the truth from that. So this energy can be cleansed. So any of these false things that we move towards and then we're like, this isn't what I thought, it's going to correct those things. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.